You weren't even looking for it. Now you're 4 scrolls into someone's profile, reading about the job, the city, the thing they figured out, and there's that feeling. Not exactly jealousy. More like realizing an event started without you and you can't find the entrance. I'm Sarah. And what's happening right now isn't what it looks like. You do it in other places too. In conversations where someone mentions something they've landed that you're still circling, you feel it before you finish the sentence. On a Tuesday when nothing is wrong and you're fine by any real measure, it's still there. The low ambient sense that you're at the wrong pace. Not behind on a deadline. Not behind on a specific thing. Just behind in this vague, continuous way. Like everyone else received instructions for how to move through their life, and yours got lost somewhere. You've been a careful person. You pay attention. The instinct to track where other people are isn't insecurity in the simple sense of the word. It's an orientation mechanism. Your brain is trying to figure out where you stand. The problem isn't that the check runs. The problem is what your brain has been using as data. Because there is a structural flaw in every comparison you've ever run, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's what the comparison is actually running against. When you look at someone's life, what you're seeing is the version they made available, their finished output. What made it through editing? You're not seeing the conversation that went badly last week. You're not seeing the 3 versions of themselves they tried before the current one clicked. You're not seeing the internal commentary running underneath the visible thing, the doubt, the second guessing, the things they're still figuring out that didn't make the final cut. You're seeing what they decided to release. And what are you comparing that to? Everything. Your whole unedited experience, the draft, the process, the 6-second thoughts at 2 a.m. that never become anything. Their finished cut against your raw footage. That comparison will always come back the same way. Not because you're actually behind, but because one side has all the data and the other side has a highlight reel. They were never equal. They were never designed to be. There's a second layer. The comparison isn't random. Psychologists call it upward social comparison. Your brain scanning for people who appear to be doing better, specifically to determine whether you're at risk. It doesn't run because you're insecure. It runs because it's treating your position in the social landscape as information relevant to your safety. Your brain thinks it's gathering intelligence. It's mostly gathering noise from a source that was never calibrated to tell you where you actually stand. The scan didn't build itself. At some point, knowing where you stood relative to other people had actual stakes. Maybe that looked like being compared out loud, to a sibling, to a standard, to what someone your age was already doing. And the distance between you and whoever was further along had weight. It affected how you were treated, what was expected of you, whether you got credit or got pushed harder. Your position in the picture wasn't invisible. It meant something. Or maybe it was quieter. The message that your value was something that had to be maintained, not assumed. That staying current, staying visible, staying adequate was how you kept things okay. That falling behind wasn't just disappointing. It was something you had to make sure didn't happen. Your brain took that in and built the scan. Not because your brain was wrong, because in that environment, tracking where you stood was real information. It kept you oriented. The comparison wasn't a flaw. It was a rational response to a situation where your position had real consequences for your safety. Here's the contradiction your brain has never resolved. The scan was built to keep you feeling okay. It makes you feel behind. Both things are true simultaneously. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. In a context where doing that exact thing produces the opposite of what it's looking for. The check runs to orient you. It leaves you more lost than when it started. Every morning for most of your life, before you'd had a single thought about your own day, your brain was already running the check, already measuring. Being entirely inside your own life, without the scan pulling your attention sideways, wasn't something that was available to you. That's what I want to name, not the comparison itself, the loyalty to it. Years of attention directed outward, toward a check that was oriented at the wrong target, in a race that stopped having stakes before you were old enough to know that. You gave a lot of mental space to something that was never going to give you the answer you were actually looking for. The scan can't tell you where you should be. It can only tell you where other people appear to be. Those aren't the same question. What it took to keep building your own things, your own direction, your own life, while part of your attention was constantly being redirected somewhere else. That's not nothing. You've been doing everything with part of yourself already allocated elsewhere. That requires more than people see. You weren't falling behind. You were running a check designed for an environment that isn't here anymore. That was never a flaw. That was just the brain doing the exact job it was trained to do. I'm curious what your version of this looks like. What the scan returns most often, and whether you could have named it before now. And if this one helped, pass it to someone who needs to hear it.